What if your greatest gift became your greatest weakness? What if your strength came from God, but your choices pulled you away from Him? This is the story of Samson, the strongest man with the weakest heart. In the town of Zorah, under the weight of 40 years of Philistine oppression, hope was fading. But God had a plan. A childless woman received a divine visitor, an angel of the Lord.
You will have a son, but no wine, no unclean food, and no razor shall touch his head. He will be a Nazirite, set apart for God, and he will begin to save Israel.
The woman ran to tell her husband Manoah, who prayed, "Lord, teach us how to raise this promised child." Soon the promise was born. His name was Samson. As he grew, the Spirit of God stirred in him, strength like no other, purpose in his bones. But Samson wasn't like the others. He didn't just fight battles, he picked them. One day in the Philistine town of Timnah, he saw a woman and said to his parents, "Get her for me. She's the one." They were heartbroken. "A Philistine. Can't you find someone among our own people?" But they didn't know. God was setting a trap for the Philistines. On the way to Timnah, deep in the forest, a young lion attacked. Samson didn't run. The Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and with his bare hands, he ripped the lion apart like it was nothing. Later, passing by the carcass, he found bees had made a hive inside. Sweet honey. He ate some and even shared it, without telling anyone where it came from. At his wedding feast, he told a riddle to his 30 Philistine groomsmen. Out of the eater, something to eat. Out of the strong, something sweet. They couldn't solve it, so they threatened his bride to get the answer. And she begged and cried, and finally, Samson gave in. When they guessed the riddle, Samson burned with rage.
If you hadn't plowed with my heifer, you wouldn't have solved it.
Then he went out, struck down 30 Philistines, stole their clothes, and paid his debt in blood. Heartbroken, Samson returned home. But when he came back with a goat to visit his wife, her father said, "I gave her to your friend. Take her sister instead." That was it.
This time I will get even.
Samson caught 300 foxes, tied them tail to tail in pairs, and lit torches between them. He released them into the Philistine fields. Grain, vineyards, olive groves, all went up in flames. The Philistines burned his wife and her father in retaliation. And Samson, he struck again, slaughtered many, then disappeared into a cave. The Philistines invaded Judah. "Why are you attacking us?" the people asked. "We want Samson," they replied. So 3,000 men of Judah went to the cave. "Don't you realize they rule over us?" they pleaded.
I only did to them what they did to me.
They bound him with new ropes and handed him over. But as he approached the Philistines, the Spirit of the Lord rushed over him again. The ropes snapped like burnt twine. Grabbing a donkey's jawbone, he struck down 1,000 men.
By a donkey's jawbone, I've made donkeys of them.
Exhausted, Samson cried out,
God, you gave me this victory, but now will I die of thirst?
So God split the rock at Lehi. Water flowed. Samson drank, he revived, and for 20 years he judged Israel. But Samson was still restless. One night he visited a woman in Gaza. The Philistines waited at the city gate to trap him. At midnight, Samson got up. He tore the city gates, posts and all, off their hinges. He lifted them onto his shoulders and carried them up a hill. It wasn't just strength, it was defiance. Then came Delilah. Samson fell in love again, but this time his weakness wasn't a lion or an army. It was trust in the wrong person. The Philistine rulers came to her. "Find the secret of his strength. We'll pay you well." Delilah asked. He joked. She tied him with bowstrings, failed. She braided his hair into a loom, failed again.
"If you loved me, you would tell me."
She cried over and over, she asked, until he broke.
No razor has ever touched my head. I'm a Nazirite. If my hair is cut, I'll lose everything.
Delilah knew. This time it was real. While he slept, Delilah called in the Philistines. They cut his hair. His strength left him. He awoke and thought he could break free. But the Lord had left him. They seized him, gouged out his eyes, bound him in bronze, and made him grind grain in prison. The mighty Samson, now blind, broken and forgotten, but his hair began to grow. One day, the Philistines threw a festival to their god, Dagon. "Bring out Samson," they cried. "Let him entertain us." A young servant led the blind warrior to the temple pillars.
Place me where I can feel them.
And then he prayed,
Sovereign Lord, remember me. Please, God, strengthen me just once more.
With both hands on the pillars, he cried, "Let me die with the Philistines." He pushed. The temple shook, the walls cracked, and the building collapsed, killing Samson and more Philistines than he had ever defeated in life. His family came and buried him in his father's tomb. For 20 years, Samson led Israel, a man of flaws, a man of fury, but still, a man used by God. His life teaches us that gifts without obedience are dangerous, that strength without wisdom can destroy, but also that even in our failure, God's mercy can still move. Samson's end wasn't a defeat, it was a sacrifice. The story of Samson reminds us that no matter how far we fall, God can still use us. Our strength comes not from us, but from Him. If you believe the next generation deserves to know these powerful stories, help us bring them to life. Subscribe, like, and share this video. Support our mission on our YouTube channel, help us spread God's word, and become part of something eternal. Thank you for watching Bible Toons Animations. Join us weekly for new Bible stories